You know, it is true. It would seem we could wake up every morning, or you could be the CEO of a particular company and find yourself on the end of criticism from the president, right now president-elect, about a product, about who knows. How do you respond? And if you're a CEO, do you really need to be thinking about these things right now?
Yeah, well, I actually wrote something for the Wall Street Journal over the weekend about this very issue, because this is the new reality for American businesses, and they need to accept the reality that Donald Trump is going to wake up in the morning and, more often than not, fire off a tweet about an American company, and it has real-world ramifications, as we're seeing with Lockheed today. Their stock price down almost 5%. And what I wrote in the Wall Street Journal this weekend was they need to be prepared for it by first assessing their own risk, and then having tweets ready to go to respond to them. I know Lockheed Martin, for example, still has not responded to Donald Trump's tweets from this morning. They need to establish back channels with the Trump administration, with his team, to talk about, to make sure that all the facts are on the table, that the president-elect understands the issue, and that they understand the crux of the president-elect's concerns with them. And then four, they need to watch TV, because a lot of the time Trump telegraphs these tweets with TV interviews, as you just showed, or by he sees something on TV, so they need to monitor it 24/7, but be prepared, have a plan.
I mean, or so what? They're going to end up getting a tweet war with the president? That doesn't sound particularly productive.
Well, I think they need to...
sorry,
Alex?
go ahead.
Yeah, Alex?
Well, I was going to say, I think that they need to have a plan, one way or the other. And it's not about having a tweet war. It's about making sure that their response, that their information is out there. What is Lockheed Martin's defense for the cost overruns in the F-35? Why aren't they out there today talking about the thousands of jobs that this program creates, about how it's going to help maintain American and our allies' air superiority? Instead, it's just silence. All that people that are watching this program and watching all the TV news this morning that covered Lockheed Martin, all they know is that the president-elect has huge problems with the cost overruns, and that's why the stock price is down. They need to respond. Sure. Silence is not acceptable.
Well, it would seem that Boeing learned that lesson now in its $17 billion deal to sell planes to Iran, saying that about tens of thousands U.S. jobs will be saved in the process. But Jared, if you're a U.S. company and you have a lucrative government contract, a long-term one, do you pick up the phone and call the president-elect directly to try and negotiate whatever it is you have on the table behind the scenes, or just open the dialogue to avoid being in this position? Or do you think he's going to use the court of public opinion regardless?
I think what Alex said is not only correct, but it suggests the latter, the court of public opinion. What you described was certainly the procedure you would do with probably any other president-elect we've had in my lifetime. Trump is obviously very different. So stipulating everything that Alex said, let me say one other point, though, that's actually really important for these companies. If you take the Carrier example, there's something that Donald Trump does, or at least did in that case, that ought to be noted. That is, he talks sticks, but he, at least in that case, gave carrots. Remember, this is a company that was pilloried for sending jobs overseas, and he used the bully pulpit against them in that regard. But, you know, they ended up with subsidies to the tune of $7 million over 10 years. So there is that dynamic as well. In terms of the cost overruns, yeah, there's definitely a lot of defense industry lobbyists who are choking on their coffee this morning. And those overruns exist. So if Donald Trump can help reduce them, that's great. I don't know that it works this way, you know, through this kind of tweeting war that has been described here.
Hey, Alex, you know, Lockheed is down, but we'll see where it closes. Boeing did not close down the day of that tweet. I just wonder, is this a currency that loses value over time? Is the victim of inflation if he does this again and again?
Well, I don't think so. I mean, the president-elect is going to have the loudest mouthpiece in the entire world. I mean, that's the power of the White House, is essentially the bully pulpit. And if he decides and continues to use the bully pulpit to go after businesses that he thinks are erring in some way, either because he doesn't like the size of their government contracts, or he doesn't like their decisions about where they open up new factories, as he did repeatedly during the campaign, I expect he'll continue to do it, and it'll continue to be a problem for, if not CEOs, certainly their communications teams who wake up in this morning and have this huge communications problem, unless they have a plan ready to go. And that's the argument I've been making to people.
You know, Jared, when it comes to these these contracts, let's talk Boeing or Lockheed Martin. I mean, there are long-established norms for how we deal with them, how we deal with cost overruns. Congress has an important role here. Are you saying, or do you expect that we're going to revert to what has been typical of how these kinds of things are handled, or is it really a new world?
You know, I don't know, but I really hope it is a new world. I mean, when I worked at the White House, I ran into executives from Boeing, frankly, kind of too often. There is such a thing as crony capitalism, and there are ways in which contract taxpayer dollars are wasted through these contracts. So scrutiny of that would be well placed. The problem is this purely optics, just tweeting, or is there something under the surface here that actually gets to the fundamental issues of greater accountability and transparency? I hope there is. I don't have a ton of hope that this is anything more than optics. So oftentimes Donald Trump's a great showman without the substance to follow it up.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.